this computer. Okay, so we're recording now. So this meeting, you should have got a message saying the meeting's being recorded, so you can just click on that. And I see there's a question in there from Sonia. What is the use of black seeds and black seed oil in Ayurveda pharmacy? So if one of the doctors wanted, maybe Dr. Rajvinder, that might be one for you.
Black seed is like called nigella seeds. I think that's what you mean. So nigellas are, yeah, great antibacterial and antiviral. So, and even antifungal as well. So there are a lot of kind of healing properties. So if you look at the properties, the gunas, they are heating in nature and also heating, anti-inflammatory. So Pitta people would use them in moderation, like they still use it, but it's better to roast them in the ghee or oil first. And the Vata and the Kapha, they can use more. So it could be used in the cooking, like a lot of recipes would go for nigella seeds, especially the pickles in the traditionally pickle recipes, they would definitely have the nigella seeds. So it improves the digestion as well. It's good for constipation. So nowadays you can get nigella capsule, black seed capsule, which are also used to enhance immunity. So they have a lot of kind of antibacterial properties in that sense. So they're used for infections, skin problems, or if people have digestive, some kind of infection going on there, piles, hemorrhoids, things like that. So yeah, so they have a kind of a vast uses, benefits, health benefits.
Okay, and there's something from Andre's phone. Hello and happy Robbie Burns night, I take it, from Scotland. So very happy Robbie Burns night to all our Scottish participants. I know we have quite a few. There's a question on fulvic acid, Don, from Antonella. I would like to know your view of consumption of fulvic acid. Thank you. I'm not sure if you have a view on it.
I think fulvic acid is sort of a decomposition chemical from you'll find in the soil or in humus. And it's becoming a sort of a health trend because it's found to have antioxidant effect and support the microbiome. And the answer is I don't really know, because on one side, Ayurveda would go for higher living forms and use.
Dr. Brannan, it's one of the component of Shilajit, so maybe you can compare it with Shilajit.
Because yeah, that's interesting, Raj, because I was just going to say in the Ayurvedic context, they choose and then they combine, and it gives a synergistic effect. And if somebody was intent on using fulvic acid but wanted to do it in a more natural, traditional context, I think combinations with Shilajit, 631 being one of them. And
yeah, because I think fulvic acid is more for testosterone, as far as I, so that's what the Shilajit is more used for, vital men formula. So in that sense, as Dr. Brannan said, for the more natural form, Shilajit will be coming collected from as a raising from the rocks in the Himalayas. So it's more called a kind of a complex herb rather than as an extracted chemical. So Ayurveda would recommend in that way if you want to consume that particular acid or chemical.
I read an article on Shilajit yesterday, and this person was absolutely praising it up to the, I mean, just said it had unbelievable properties. But one of the things they were claiming, now I don't know whether this is true or not, is that it's very good for clearing plaque and for cleaning the arteries. Would that be one of its uses in Ayurveda?
In combination with Gugulu, I think as Dr. Brannan said, it will come with the combination. So Gugulu is the more that will, so Shilajit Gugulu will be the preparation.
Okay. Very good. So Don, there's one there. What is the best way to take Triphala powder for weight loss and how often?
Well, Triphala taken in the evening is more for elimination, and taken in the morning is more as a tonic for strengthening. So I would say that the evening, taking it each evening, a teaspoonful or two, you could take it with some water. The benefit, I think the best measure of the amount to take would be the one that gives you just a complete, a satisfying, a fulfilling bowel motion the next morning, because Triphala has that effect of allowing the bowels to be very healthy in their function and to clear the toxins. So I think that will be the better use of it for if you're thinking of weight loss. But I think weight indicates that you're out of touch with your body and you're eating more than your body wants. So there are many other strategies in Ayurveda to be more self-aware and to support your metabolisms, because we should burn off what we don't need and just retain what builds our tissues. So also all the digestives in Ayurveda. So the whole Ayurvedic approach, knowing your nature, knowing what suits and doesn't, and supporting your digestion, not just, you know, the weighing scales as the sort of measure of your well-being. So I take a greater approach to that problem if I were you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think just taking Triphala on it or taking anything on its own is just going to get weight loss going. If you do want to start with the Ayurvedic thing, well, the 7-lesson course we do is a great place to start. But I think for weight loss and getting in touch with your body and finding out all about how Ayurveda works, our spring detox, which we had about over 200 people do it last year, but we'll be doing that again this April. And I think an awful lot of people lost a lot of weight during that spring detox, but I'll be sending out details about that later on, you know. So what I'm going to do this evening, a little bit of a change of format. I'm going to read the questions out and let the doctors answer them, and we'll just work our way down through them. So I've been told that if someone has tinnitus, they are 3 times more likely to develop dementia in later life. Any comments? Well, I certainly don't have a comment. Dr. Brennan?
I would definitely have a comment on this, because I remember that the sense of hearing is a Vata sense, and it's associated with the Akasha, the space element. And so if someone is getting tinnitus, it's quite likely that they have a Vata imbalance. But then when you remember that the whole nervous system really is a Vata organ in the body, and the dementia is generally a Vata problem also, then what you're finding is that the tinnitus is a precursor in the sense that it's given an early warning that the Vata is going out of balance. And well, if you're not going to listen to your body and sort out the early warnings, then the Vata goes deeper and deeper and into the most profound tissue of nervous system, and then it starts to cause dementia. So in that sense, I could see logic in that being a precursor.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I started to get a bit of tinnitus myself.
Oh no, we're worried about you now.
During the first lockdown there, when I was doing all those Zoom calls. I mean, I was answering like 500 emails a day from people, you know. And I remember I talked to Dr. Rajvinder about it. So she gave me some oil, a mixture of oil that I could put in my ear, but also actually explained that it was a Vata problem. And I knew what the problem was. It was just too much time on the computer. But I have to say it's completely gone, which is marvelous, because having that ringing in your ear is not particularly nice. But if it is a precursor to dementia, then the obvious thing to do is get rid of the dementia or get rid of the tinnitus, you know.
I also gave you Shirodara, and that was like you felt it's gone immediately.
Yeah, Dr. Rajvinder did a Shirodara, which is pouring oil on your forehead. So you need to find an Ayurvedic center nearby, and it is the most relaxing treatment. It's just a stream of warm sesame oil down on your forehead.
Rajvinder knows how to sort out Noel. She doesn't have to give out to him. She just gives him a Shirodara, and she has him at the palm of her hand.
Yeah, well, it worked anyway. Okay, so next question.
Can I take out, hold on, before we move on to the next one, can I conjoin that last question with vertigo, because it's not dissimilar to tinnitus. And, you know, when we're thinking about tinnitus, the tinnitus is generally in the ear, though it could be the nerve to the brain, it could be in the brain. But that whole axis, tinnitus or vertigo is the inner ear also, and it is a Vata problem generally. So again, you want to balance your Vata, stop stressing, stop straining, stop rushing, stop late nighting and you know, wearing yourself out. Go for a more sedate or a more relaxed approach to life with enough rest to keep fresh. Do your meditation, and then you can focus on the Vata in that area. I would suggest the nasal drops used regularly, and the use of oil in the head, you know, the oil pulling, the head massage. And, you know, that's where Rajvinder's Shirodara would come in as well, as a very soothing Vata reducing therapy for that.
And then the Vata balancing herbs could be very helpful, like Brahmi or, in combination with ashwagandha. All the nerve tonics could help with vertigo and tinnitus as well, both.
Yeah, I think as Dr. Brennan says, it's a Vata condition, and people who did our 7-lesson course know that Vata has the most amount of disorders associated with it. And we also know that Vata is about movement, and, so we live in a very, very Vata deranging world. In actual fact, most of the stuff going out there is designed to put our Vatas out of balance. So TVs and phones and all these things, and they all have their use and they're all great, but they have to be done in moderation, So a walk in nature, are great things to balance in Vata. Abhyangas, the oil massage, the Shirodharas, the relaxation time, transcendental meditation, or whatever form of meditation that you do. Pranayama, again, for settling down the mind. All of those things are great for Vata. And, all those things we get in later life, Parkinson's disease, dementia, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, all these things can be associated with Vata. And the time to deal with them, if you can, is not to let the Vata go out of balance in midlife. But we can do things to reverse it anyway, even later on. So just like I said, I had that tinnitus problem, but I haven't had it for months and months and months because I just took care of the issue, So any advice re food allergies, please? Can they be overcome, or is it a case of just avoiding? I am having tests at the moment, but possibly dairy or veg family of potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, which I notice rarely seem to feature in Ayurvedic cooking. So food allergies. Dr. Rajvendra, maybe you might want to comment on that.
Yeah, if you're having food allergies, normally you need to avoid the food that are high in histamine. So you already indicated toward the nightshades, which are all the food that you have mentioned there. So Ayurveda does talk about them. Ayurveda does say nightshades are inflammatory. They increase the inflammation in the body. They increase Pitta. So you are actually looking to balance Pitta diet. So you need to kind of follow the Pitta food where you avoid sour or fermented things, and you use the food that has a cooling effect on the body. Let's say mint, for example, licorice, fennel, coriander, all these are like cooling effect on the body. So you use those food to overcome the allergies. And plus you will be using certain herbs so that why your body is reacting, why the histamine is so high in your body. So you have to go on Pitta balancing food first. And also when I said fermented, you need to avoid wine as well, because that will be coming under the fermentation. So there will be lots of foods that you will be asked to avoid in the beginning, and just to strengthen your immune system. So, and slowly I treated a lady, like immediately when she eats something, her face will swell up and all. So you need to kind of balance Pitta in the body, and through that you will be able to overcome. So in the beginning, it will be the case of avoiding in the beginning, and then you're getting rid of ama from your system, and you're building more ojas. More ojas you have, more your body is able to overcome these allergies, because your immune system won't be reacting immediately to these foods that are high in histamine.
Yeah, again, it's a question of why have you got these allergies? I mean, okay, sometimes it may be genetic, but a lot of times it's lifestyle orientated. So your system is up at a level where this thing is just knocking it over. But if you can get that stress down, if you can get the ama, the toxicity out of your system, then you're able to deal with these things. And again, detox is spring detox is a very good thing to help prevent allergies later on in the year. Pat D says, I use 2 Triphala tablets daily for about 10 months. What do you suggest now, a break? Or, yeah, Pat, there's no harm with any tablets of taking a break for a little while. So, but Triphala is 3 fruits. So I remember Abhijah was asked, can you take Triphala all the time? And he said, well, can you eat an apple every day? And obviously the answer to that is yes, but I feel it's no harm to take a break every now and then. I use Triphala a lot. I think it's a fabulous herbal for keeping, it used to be called colon cleanse. It still is in different places. So I think it's a fabulous thing to take at nighttime as a rasayana and to keep your colon clean. But it's no harm in taking a break, I think, for a month or two if you want, I know Abhyanga is recommended in the morning, but I prefer to do it in the evening. Is there a problem with doing it at this time, Mary? So Rajvinder, again, you can answer that.
If you don't have time in the morning, you're okay. At least you do it. That's the main thing. I encourage people rather than not doing it. And why it is recommended in the morning, because you're waking up in the Vata time and you're going into the Kapha time, 6 to 10. So in the kapha, as the sun is slowly rising, the environment is a bit dull and kind of a bit heavy and sluggish. So you want to stimulate, you want to wake your system up, and you, with the Abhyanga, you are improving your circulation, lymphatic system, digestive system. So it helps with even with the elimination as well. Sometimes you little stomach massage is enough to go to the toilet. So there's a reason why you recommend it. But if you do in the evening, then also you are doing it in the kapha time, which is fine. It's rather than stimulating, then it will be more gentle, it will be more soothing, so that it helps you to sleep, so it doesn't overstimulate you. But normally it doesn't really stimulate people. People find it beneficial doing Abhyanga in the evening and might take a little bath and then go to bed. It helps with the sleep. So it's fine. Yeah, it's better than not doing it. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is one for Dawn. It says, hi, I have ulcerative colitis, but following a herbal regime, I don't need medication. I have a flare up at the moment. Any advice would be really appreciated. I'm very Vata. So that's from Francis. So Don, any advice there?
Yes, Francis, I think, first of all, it's great you have the insight that you're very Vata. And, you know, the ulcerative colitis is tending to happen in a Vata part of the body, you know, which is the colon. And so, you know, you want to listen that, first of all, you have to settle your Vata by getting a lot of rest and good routine and relaxed meals and oil massage. However, there is a lot of inflammation involved in ulcerative colitis as well, which means that your Vata starts to inflame your Pitta. And so I would be perhaps watching out to avoid anything in the diet that would provoke Pitta, like what Raj was talking about, the fermented foods, like the vinegars, the alcohols, the cheese, the yogurt, the tahini, anything that's sort of fermented would be best left out of your diet at the moment, and any really hot spices best left out. And you remember that this is also your digestive system, so you take good care of your digestion, eating at the appropriate time in a relaxed fashion. And so you really just want to cause it yourself, and, you know, allow your body to recover, which of course it can do and knows how to do. And there's also some herbals that we could think of taking, but probably you best see one of us if we're going to start on the herbal route, because which way we're going, more for Vata or more for Pitta, depends on the individual and their condition. There was another one note that came in directly to me, the benefits of oil pulling with sesame oil, both as a gargle and inside the nostrils. Paul, it's a great idea because sesame seed oil is the best substance for balancing Vata. And you have a concentration of Vata in the head area with prana and udana. Udana is to do with the throat and the speech and self-expression and making an effort. And sure, we're all strained, so our poor udana is getting a little pushed out. So the sesame oil then is the best substance for balancing Vata. So this whole concentration of Vata is being brought to balance as we do it from the subtlest level. And then we remember that we're made of protein and oil. So the oil is actually being absorbed and nourishing the tissues in this area. And so you then see the sesame seed oil is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. So suddenly it's cleansing this whole area. And then this area is also, the nose is an excretory organ, you know, and often the toxins from our nervous system, you know, about 1/3 of the toxins in the lymphatics, where your brain is cleansing itself overnight, about 1/3 of those toxins are now understood to come through to the sinuses to be excreted. Then you have a sort of a connection with the nervous system. And so Ayurveda understands that doing this process is very good for the brain. It's sort of nourishing and soothing for our very nervous system. So it's a very good strategy to include in your waking up regime, that should cleanse and nourish that whole area.
Yeah, I think the sesame oil for the oil pulling is great. For the nostrils, you can use sesame oil, but even better, I would say, is MP16, MA735. It's sesame oil with herbs in it, and a lot of people use it, and it's just keeps this area very clean. And as Dr. Bennett says, it's antiviral and it's antibacterial. So it's, and this is where viruses get in through the nose and the mouth. So it's a good thing to do, you know. So Yvonne's Galaxy, I have a red dry rash under my eye, started on the right eye and now it's on the left. I think it's stress related. I had it twice before. First time I did acupuncture and second time it seemed to clear up without intervention. This time I've had it since October. So that's October, November, December and most of January. So that's 4 months. And Rajvinder, maybe you might want to take that red dry rash under the eyes.
Well, I need to see it, then I will know what it is. Sounds like a pitta imbalance. So you already said it's the stress related. So probably stress is stimulating your adrenaline too much. So try to, hopefully you're sleeping well and your bowel movement is good, and go for fresh air walk and things. But you can also do maybe a bit of chamomile tea or application of the ghee on the rash. If it's a little bit far away, it's under the eye, protecting the eye, you can use the skin soother oil, and that can help. If you have a skin soother oil mixed with the neem oil, actually, that will actually clear it faster. There are herbs like MADK2, that's very good for any kind of these kind of rashes or redness on the skin area. So because acupuncture clear it, yeah, so seems like some kind of blockages in your energy. So I do recommend you to kind of clear up your mind, go for fresh air walk, do some kind of cooling Shitli pranayam, which is sucking air like a straw through your mouth and blow it like bubbles. It really create a cooling sensation, and it's actually cool down the whole nervous system. So looks like you need to do some pitta balancing for your physiology. So that stress is causing a lot of heat in your body.
Okay, I would actually suggest if you've had something like that for 4 months that you should go and have a consultation with one of the doctors, because if you do that, they'll be able to see it very clearly and give you much stronger advice, you know. And if you said you'd had it for a week and maybe followed some of the things that Rajvinder says, and maybe it'll go away. But if you've had it for 4 months, it's obviously not that nice. So I think get a consultation so that you can get rid of it, and hopefully it won't come back again, you know. So this one for you, Don, is it good to take turmeric for osteoarthritis and osteoporosis every day?
For osteoarthritis, it's a good idea because it's very anti-inflammatory, and with the wear and tear on the joints, there's going to be inflammation. So I think that that's a great idea. And add a little pepper to it, because the turmeric essential ingredients will be better absorbed. Just a tiny pinch of pepper added in with the turmeric. So take it every day, especially for our osteoarthritis. Osteoporosis, I don't think it's that specific, but I mean, it's a very good herb generally, and certainly you could take it.
Yeah, turmeric is something I use absolutely every day, and I fry it in ghee when I'm frying the spices, making the vegetables, and it's just something it's in a lot of the spice mixes as well. So, and you just take a little bit in your food. It's a great thing to do, you know. Just to say, we've 199 on the call, so if you get one of your friends to join in, we can have so Margaret, can anyone suggest anything to accelerate return of taste and smell post-COVID, now being without it for 2 months?
I say you try the MP16 oil and the oil pulling, if you're not doing it already, and they are the best strategies. And be patient, I think it will return. It's just your system is taking time. It usually take 1 to 2 months to recover from the infection. And even some people are finding extreme tiredness, and it's just lingering on. Somebody has very bad pain and it's just lingering on for a month. So I think I'm sure it will return. But do the MP16 oil and the oil pulling, because that will stimulate the nerve ending, because that's good, and also nourish the brain. Again, it depends on what symptoms you got when you got the infection, how bad it was. All that depends on all that. If you're very Vata as well, so then you need to nourish your whole physiology. So use of ghee in your diet, eating proper 3 meals, and doing a bit of relaxation to your nervous system. Any strategy like pranayam or meditation will help you. And as your nervous system start calming down, I think these two actions of the brain slowly will start recovering as well.
Yeah, and the MP16 is definitely worth trying, that's for sure, you know.
Yeah, or one of the if you are keen on the herbs, then I think the MA630, which you were recommending, that's a good antiviral. I just can say it. I don't know much about what the symptoms you had, but MA630 might be something good to use as well.
Okay, well, here's a question I'm going to answer myself. So this is, what are the best non-toxic household products and disinfectants to use? I made a video on this one time. So I use vinegar mixed with water and lemon juice, and you can put in some baking soda into it as well. And then for the luxury version of this, you add in some essential oil, any one you like. I like clove because it's got a nice smell off it, but you can use any essential oil you like, just a few drops into it. So you just get a plastic bottle, you put some vinegar into it. I must dig out the video for it, but you know, maybe 5:1 vinegar to water. So you put some vinegar in it, you put some water in it, you squeeze some lemon juice, you put it into it. You put some bicarbonate of soda if you want. I don't use that all the time. And then to get a lovely smell off it, you put in some aromatherapy, aroma oils. All aroma oils are antibacterial and antiviral, all of them, as far as I'm aware, okay? But certainly things like clove oil and tea tree oil. And then that way you do not have to be buying toxic home cleaners, because I'm telling you, those things, just go and look at the ingredients that you're putting on your surfaces. Just look at them, and that's going into your food and that's going into your body. And your body doesn't know what to do with that stuff. It's ending up in your fat tissues and it's causing all types of problems. We have an obsession with cleanliness that is, I don't think is actually that good. It's okay. I'm not saying your house shouldn't be tidy and clean, but we shouldn't have this obsession with, I mean, people think, oh God, bacteria are bad for you. Every bacteria, that's not the case. You couldn't survive without bacteria. There's billions of bacteria. There's more bacterial cells in your body than there are human cells, you know? So bacteria are essential in your gut and everything like that. Most of your serotonin is actually manufactured in your gut. Most of your immune system is in your gut. So these bacteria are used for all types of things. And if you're killing them off with bleaches and, you know, very strong disinfectants and all these things, and you are, I mean, you may think, well, I wash the surface and I wash it down, but don't fool yourself. Those toxins are getting into you. They're going onto your food. They're going into the air. They're getting into your body one way or the other, and they cause asthma. So my advice is to take all your commercial household cleaning products and throw them in the bin and don't buy any more, and make your own home cleaning products. I'll see, can I dig out that video? I'll send you a copy of it, but it's so simple to make. Just vinegar, water, lemon juice, bicarbonate of soda if you want, and then some essential oil, whatever essential oil that you want, one that you know is a good flavor. Now, but you only use a very, very small amount of essential oil. The second part of that question, are air purifiers safe to use? Don, maybe you can answer that.
At the end, no, you're absolutely right. You just look at the contents, because you'll see in an aerosol there's all sorts of gases and.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't thinking of those things. The sprays. Oh Jesus, definitely don't use them. Don't have anything like that in your house. I don't want to start mentioning products names, but these things for spraying on your covers and these things forget about all of that stuff. All you got to do is look at the contents of that. There's nothing but a mixture of, you know, chemicals that are not designed to go in. I think I'm talking about air purifiers as in the ones they're using for COVID now. Would that be?
I think the best air purifier will be to open your windows, because when you're living in a closed environment and your house is so well sealed, and maybe your furniture is off gassing, and maybe there are chemicals that you've been using as detergents, and they just accumulate. So, you know, just having a breath of fresh air is probably the most effective thing you can do to purify the air.
I couldn't agree with you more. Sorry, Dan. I couldn't agree with you more. The Green Party are doing something at the moment where I can't remember the word that they're using, but it's something to do with homes where you need to basically insulate them. And I don't know, the word isn't recondition. I just can't think of the word that they use. But I mean, basically, we need to do that for ourselves, you know, like fine. If your home is very insulated, then the air is stale and you're breathing out and all this stuff. Just open your windows and get that fresh air into you. And like, we've become very soft as people. I mean, if we look back at what even our parents were, or our grandparents, and how tough they were, and we tend to be living in these houses where they have to be 21, 22 degrees all year round. We want to walk around in our t-shirt all the time. You know, you have genes inside of you that switch on in the wintertime to heat up your body. But, you know, if you're walking around in a warm house all the time, you probably lose that ability. But I 100% agree with Dr. Brennan. Open up your windows every day and get nice, clean, fresh air into your house. Sorry,
if you go to India and you see the houses there, they have no heating system there, and they are kind of bricks wall, and the tiles on the floor, it's all cold. And probably I think the genes turn on to heat up the body.
Yeah. No, I have a friend, a TM teacher, and he says that central heating is the worst invention ever, you know. He just, you know, and people might think that's absolutely crazy, but there is a certain thing about getting tough, you know.
No, you'll have to admit your friend is very Pitta.
Well, that's true. He is very
poor old Vatas that need to say.
You know who I'm talking about.
Don't scare now.
Listen, I wanted to go back to the one about the loss of taste and smell, and just to speak a little bit more, if I can, about the immune system, because in a sense, when we talk about our immune system, there are two that we really have. And one is the innate, the inherent immune system, so that if something breaks through any of our barriers of skin or lining of the gut, or lining of the respiratory tract, this one takes off and does battle. And this is the immune system that really we experience when we get, you know, quite ill with anything. But the other immune system is a very specialized immune system, which exists in the mucous membranes of the nose, mouth, respiratory tract, and the gut. And this immune system has its own specialized cells. And so what this immune system does, it has to be different to our innate immune system, because the inner immune system is only exposed really to the occasional invader. And so it can go absolutely 100% and hammer it. But your mucous membranes in your nose and gut couldn't behave like that, because there's innumerable viruses and bacteria, particles, and in your gut, all sorts of proteins and things. So the immune system can't go into attack mode, or it'll be attacking everything and be worn out. So this immune system has a much better capacity to turn itself off when the job is done, so that it has an ability to not respond. So something strange comes in for like COVID, and the COVID, it gets into the mucous membranes. And the COVID we had, the Delta and the previous variants, got very, very deep into the alveoli, which are the little air sacs low down. And it was very easy for them to penetrate that very refined, very, very thin barrier. So they actually penetrated the mucous membranes, got inside, and triggered the much more greater, deeper immune response within us. And that then got out of control and hasn't got the same ability to dampen itself down as the immune system would have in the mucous membranes. So that's therefore why people were getting very, very ill. And, you know, even their immune system going total haywire, and they ending up in hospitals and ultimately dying. The new variety is the Omicron. And there's actually already a variant of the Omicron now, which they're studying and could even be a milder form. But the Omicron doesn't get into the alveoli. It doesn't get deep. It doesn't get far down. And so it's on the upper portions of our respiratory tract where their immune response happens. But it didn't penetrate as deeply, as easily. So people are not getting as sick because it's not going inside, but the immune response and the mucous membranes is very, very active, creating this cough and even catarrh. But that's a defense mechanism, because when you cough, you're coughing up all this virus, you see, and you swallow 90% of what you cough up. And then the virus goes down into your digestive system, right? And it's in your gut that the major portion of your immune system is. So there are all these lymph glands in your gut called Peyer's patches. Like you have lymph glands in your groin and under your oxter, which swell up if you have an infection, because that's where the immune system is really active, in these lymph glands. But the lymph glands in the Peyer's patches in the gut, they're what produce the cells for your mucous membranes. So the immune cells made in the Peyer's patch then are distributed back up to the immune system in your respiratory tract. So it's part of the process that you should cough up, and then your gut makes a huge army of soldiers to go to war in the immune system in your upper airways, and that's then why you clear it. So I just thought it would be interesting to expand what we were talking about in the immune lecture by making it relevant to the current COVID situation.
Okay, and that immunity webinar is available online as well. And as I said, there's a brilliant address by the Indian ambassador to Ireland. If any of you haven't seen it, just send me an email. I'll send you a link to that. Okay, Don, thanks for that. So Fiona's iPad, what are your thoughts on addressing any deep hurt, grief, resentment, forgiveness, etc., to help heal the body? You can't have negativity in any form and expect a peaceful and happy life. Well, my thoughts on addressing any of those things is that you need to address them. And, you know, emotional, physical, from an Ayurvedic perspective, they're nearly the same thing, you know. I mean, whatever's going on in your mind is having an effect on your body. I mean, if you're suffering from anxiety, if you're suffering from grief, if you're suffering from resentment or hatred towards people or anything like that, or if you feel the world is being, whatever it happens to be, there is a physical element to that as well. So you're going to have neurotransmitters in your brain, you're going to have adrenaline in your system, you're going to have all of these things. So the best way we deal with them is we do address them. So then is the question, how do we address them? Well, it's like everything. There's many ways of addressing these things, and we do what works for us. I'm a big believer in meditation. I've been a practitioner of transcendental meditation since 1989. So that's going on 32 years. I personally speaking, I think it's an absolutely fabulous technique. I'm sure there are people doing other techniques that they find great, but anything that brings stillness can bring healing. And then, then we can deal with all of those things. And the thing about, I find with TM is that even though it can deal with the stresses that are there, as you go on, then you don't take on board those stresses. You don't, I'm not saying you're not affected by something somebody might say to you, but you don't tend to hold on to it. You don't tend to carry it around, because after all, if you're going around feeling, resentment towards somebody or hatred towards somebody or some situation, that's doing you harm. It's not necessarily doing the other person harm. Like if you're angry towards somebody, unless you lash out and hit them, but generally you're not doing that. But that anger or resentment or, inability to forgive is actually doing you harm, because you have chemical transmitters associated with that in your nervous system. And the best thing we can do is move beyond it and go beyond it. And my experience is meditation is a great way to do that, but also yoga, maybe counseling, depending on what the thing is. But Fiona, my thing is that it definitely needs to be addressed. The whole thing needs to be addressed. I'm not sure if any of the doctors have anything else they'd like to say on that.
Well, what I would say also to add to that is that Noel has taken it from the deepest level. It's like water off a duck's back. If you're regularly doing your TM and immersing your mind and body in that integrated state, so that your habit of disintegration and resentment is sort of negated, and you have less tendency to go there because you're more settled within yourself generally. But to add to that, the Vata Pitta Kapha insights that it is a Pitta problem of anger, resentment, and therefore it may be that you need in that situation to work to balance your Pitta more, which allows you to be more accepting and more forgiving. But I would say a third thing, you can address it on its own level, because you look back and you see the event or the circumstances which provoked this hurt and anger. And if you take a strategy where you're looking back at that and having those memories, but do it dispassionately without your emotional response. In other words, just replay the events like you would a camera recording it. So replay the events and then ask yourself of that other person, why would they respond or do this? And if you ask that question and you start to wonder that they have an argument with the wife the night before, or did they have a grief going on in the family, or is it that it's a personality thing and they had a very rough upbringing, or is it in the genes that actually they couldn't control because of their inheritance? And you start to see possibilities that could make it more reasonable. And then you can also ask, why did I respond like that? And you start to really learn something then, because your response may not always be absolutely adequate and appropriate to the circumstances, but at least it's like your vision, your tunnel vision to the event and the person and why, and it starts to expand out and see, well, in reality, life is complex, and we then start to see we can forgive ourselves and forgive the other. So it might be an exercise that's very helpful to get you over that resentment.
Yeah, that's very good, Dr. Brennan. Actually, I remember Maharishi saying the more stressed you are, the more you're affected by outside events. So somebody says something that's not so nice to you, and you just can't get rid of it from your mind. You can't let it go, and you don't see the person for another week. And then the first thing that comes to your mind is the way they spoke to you, but the less stressed you are, then you're still affected by things. Maharishi described it like a line in concrete if you're very stressed, okay? So it just doesn't go away, or it takes an awful long time to go away. But as we get rid of stress and more stress, then it just becomes like a line in water or a line in the air. We register it, but we don't hold on to it, So forgiveness and looking back in things and, everything. I think it was Socrates that said, I may be wrong on this, maybe someone can correct me on this, but he said like have a kind word for everybody, because everybody is fighting a battle in this life. Everybody is fighting some sort of a battle in this life. So just how some of us are fighting a heavier battle than others, that's for sure. I've no doubt about that. But everybody has challenges in this life, and you catch people on different days, and yourself, if you've had a really stressed day or a stressed time, that you're more reactive to things. That's the back part of your brain. That's the ancient part of your brain kicking in. But if you're more relaxed, if you're more, if you're more at ease, it's your frontal cortex that's working for the thinking process. And that's what makes you human, So just practice forgiveness, practice, what's the word I'm looking for? Just being grateful for things that you have. And, and then if you do go wrong, and if you do snap at somebody and you do lose control, then you don't have to beat yourself up about it. If you realize, God, I really spoke to that person in a very bad way, and looking back on it, they didn't really do too much, then go and apologize. Apology is a sign of strength. If you have the ability to apologize to somebody, it's a sign of your own strength, your own good being, So never be afraid to apologize to somebody, and never beat yourself up too much because you took a very strong reaction to something. If you recognize it later on, then just go ahead and do that. Okay, we've kind of left Dr. Rajvinder out of this for a while. So Sally, please can you talk about the 1 meal a day recommendation, lunch only?
Hold on, this is mine. This is mine.
Okay, Dr. Brennan advised me last October to do that.
I did not.
I was thinking you didn't. I was actually reading that, and I was saying you probably didn't, So,
Yeah.
Sally, listen up.
Sally, I said 5 days to a week. 5 days are a week. I did not say 5 days a week.
I was thinking that was wrong. I was just thinking Dr. Brennan didn't advise that, So Sally, it's 5 days to a week, not 5 days a week.
You were supposed to have that 1 meal a day for 5 days to a week.
Yeah, just as a break.
That was to clear toxins. Well, my God, they must all be gone by now. So when you get back to having some decent meals before you fade away to nothing on us, you're too precious for us to lose.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll give one for Rajvinder here. Anything to help liver for someone who has a shadow on their liver, possible cancer if left untreated? So that's quite a serious one. Judith's iPad.
Judith, liver care remedy is very good and it's quite safe to take as well. And then I'm sure you're taking other like dandelion tea, nettle tea, all the liver stuff, milk thistle. So on the bigger picture, liver is the organ that we are already talking about, grief and all that. So for that person as well, looking into strengthening your liver, because liver is all that process emotions, hormones. So I talked about on my immunity webinar as well, how important is it to go to bed at 10, because that's the time, 10 to 2 is the pitta time. And so you probably know when people, why when they do night shift, they call it like dead hour shift. Why they call it dead hour shift? Because such a drainage on your whole system. So especially your poor liver can go very weak. So give kind of importance that you go to bed 10, because 10 to 2 is the time in Ayurveda circadian rhythm that your liver detox itself. It's just like do a house cleaning really. So it's a housekeeping job that the liver do. If you're missing the 10 o'clock bedtime, that liver is overburdened, then we have issue with processing emotions, processing hormones, and even digestive system. So liver care remedy and plus bedtime is very important. Another leafy greens and bitters are great for liver. So including some of the bitters like fenugreek or neem or chards, that kind of lovely vegetables coming on the way in the season. So I would recommend all those things.
Very good, Dr. Rajvinder. Actually, I missed out some questions there. Can you recommend anything for mucus collection in the throat, especially in the morning? Kapha thing, maybe Rajvinder.
Ajwain, just a simple tip. Ajwain is an Indian caraway, is a lovely spice, but you don't chew it very sharp. Just swallow it after your dinner, and maybe try not to eat a very heavy dinner, because if there is a mucus in the morning, that means your digestive system is quite sluggish and your food hasn't digested properly. So swallow some ajwain seeds, warm water, avoid any biscuit, any other sugary treat, or any cup of tea, anything in the evening then. So I think I can recommend that.
Very good. And Dr. Brennan, you have SP. I'm not sure what SP is. Maybe I'm missing something.
But I'm taking it as a compliment.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a special person. Okay.
Oh, is that
Special power.
Special powers.
You
You have special powers.
Would I wish? Well,
you're
thanks, Andrew,
super
for the
doctor.
nice thought.
Super doctor. Is it okay to drink golden milk every day, and does it help for lower back pain?
Absolutely, no problem. Yeah, Chandrika, I think you have a lot of Vata in your system. And golden milk is fine for everybody. If you can't tolerate dairy, and then you go with the plant-based milk. So golden milk is milk, either milk or plant-based milk, boiled with turmeric and other spices like nutmeg or ginger. You can have in the springtime maybe a bit of cardamom. So you change the warming spice to a bit of the cooling spices, but turmeric is the main spice. Yeah, so you can do that.
So, no, my friend is inquiring about natural treatment for recently diagnosed asthma following the vaccine booster. Can you advise? So, asthma.
Oh, we've lots of advice for asthma, and ideally to come and see us to sort out asthma. But COVID is a kapha, involving the kapha part of the body with the chest, and the vaccines obviously in their side effects can impact there as well. Just I think take care of kapha for asthma and vata, both those two. And if
the simple tip is
sorry, Rajvinder?
You just start taking tulsi. Yeah, consultation will be more beneficial to understand more. But the tulsi is a wonderful kind of a herb. I'm sure we have that in the stock. I don't know.
Tulsi is a herb for getting oxygen into
the more oxygen to your lungs and tissues.
Gets oxygen to your lungs, so that's good.
And Trichatu is a good digestive herbal after.
And we have an article on asthma on our website. So don't forget, we've hundreds of articles on our website on different topics. So you could go there, and then a consultation if it would be good as well. So the next one I'm going to answer myself. It's from George Hollis. In my research on Ayurveda, I've come across comments from different sources about the presence of toxic material arsenic or lead in certain Ayurvedic medicines. Do the doctors have any information on these matters? It's absolutely true, George. There are Ayurvedic medicines that have arsenic and lead in them. There are different laws in different countries, and lead basmas are completely legal in India. They're part of Ayurvedic medicine, the use of minerals and metals and things like that. However, they're completely banned in the West because of their misuse, I would say. Okay, but nonetheless, what happens every now and then is that there is a batch of Ayurvedic herbals comes into Europe, and the regulatory authorities take them off the shelf. They test them. They find they've too much lead or too much arsenic, and it does give Ayurveda a bad name in the West. However, we take all our products. That's why we sell Maharishi Ayurveda products, and they come from a special factory in India which only manufactures for the West. So they don't bring these metals into the factory at all, and everything is completely tested, and they have many certifications. They're both tested in Europe and tested in India, so that their purity is we can be very confident of our purity. Again, if you go onto our website and if you go down to quality control, you can read all the articles, and you can read all about all the certifications that the Ayurvedic herbals have. But it is true, George, unfortunately.
The lead and arsenic has a bad name. If they're used in India, they're legal in India.
Absolutely, that's what I said.
They're purified.
Yes,
they are
that's
not.
The point.
Yeah,
that's the point. There's a huge branch of Ayurveda called Rasa, and it's about the use of products which in Ayurveda would be the equivalent of modern medicine. These products have to be incredibly carefully prepared and handled. Yes. Now, all the other products that we're using would not be in the range of modern medicines that could have side effects. They're generally, Ayurveda are using products and combining them in ways so as not to have side effects. But with Rasa Shastra, it has to be very carefully done. Those products are very difficult to produce correctly. And the problem was that the standards of production weren't controlled in India. It's starting to happen now. The Indian government are getting much more proactive in establishing standards. So as a consequence, poorly produced products in India were reaching the West, where the effects of improperly produced metallic preparations became obvious. So, I think your guarantee is, as Noel was saying, that, with the Maharishi Ayurveda products, there's not using metal preparations in the products. Then they're using laboratory testing of all the incoming batches of herbs for quality. They're testing the products having made the products to ensure that there's no bacteria, no fungi, no heavy metals, no chemicals. And then they come to India, where they're to Europe, and batches in Europe can be also tested to ensure. So that's why it's easy to choose the.
Yeah, and I wasn't saying anything against the use of metals in Ayurveda in India. I was just saying.
No, but it wasn't clear, Noel, that they were purified. But that process has not been followed.
Okay.
This problem.
Okay. And someone asked about talc in the ingredients, and definitely talc had been used as a binding agent. And talc got itself a bit of a bad name, but that was more to do with the powder talc and the amount that you'd be taking in. But that's been replaced now with rice.
That got a bad name because there's silicon in the mines in the talc, and that was giving lung problems. But also the talc became associated with people using, there was talc found in the ovaries, in the core of cancers of the ovary. And that gave people a real fright that was actually getting into the ovaries. But as Noel says, it's being replaced in all the products because of that. But there was never any research showing any possible damage from the use of talc in the ways that it had been used in the pharmaceutical industry and in the use of binding of tablets. So it probably wasn't a problem, but it's being replaced because a doubt
Replacement,
emerged.
yeah, because it got a bad name.
Yeah, you just have to powder the machine to run the tablets through it. It's not actually in the preparation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Stop the herbs sticking.
Yeah, so yeah,
So it's on the machine.
anti-caking or something like
so we have, oh God, we're up to 208. The numbers are going up here. Talking about histamines, I was told to avoid histamine food to control Vata. Is that correct, or just mentioned it is for Pitta?
I think if you have inflammation as a Vata, then yeah, you will be advised to go easy on the nightshades, but not necessarily like the three tastes that are good for Vata in the Ayurvedic nutrition is sweet, sour, and salty. So actually the sour is used for Vata and it won't be used for Pitta that much. So it depends what's going on as a Vata. So maybe there is something inflammation going on, and that's why you were advised to take to avoid antihistamine, to avoid the histamine-rich food.
So Cynthia asks, what dosha is aggravated to create arthritis? Well, again, there's many types of arthritis, and we're having a webinar on that next Tuesday. It will predominantly be Vata, but it could also be Pitta, depending on if there's...
Vata is like queen of doshas, and there's always Vata involved because we always overdo, we overstress, we don't sleep well, we don't eat well. So that's all cause Vata imbalance. So Vata is mostly there.
Okay, Rajendra, the next one's definitely for you. How can a woman support detoxification during their menopause if menstruation is a natural detoxification process? Thank you.
Well, menstruation is a detoxification for the years when the body kind of, because it's the process to prepare the womb to have a baby and all that. So those years your body's already doesn't have that much estrogen. So then your body is more, your physiology kind of detox through stool, through urine, through the lymphatic system. And it's also, when the menopause hits in, the weight is a bit of a problem, which means the lymphatic system start getting sluggish, the digestive system goes sluggish as well. So pay more attention to digestion, so regular bowel movement, and a proper kind of abhyanga or dry brushing. So you use those strategy and avoid estrogen-rich foods, and also kind of a kapha increasing diet as well. So there are different strategies that you can use, but mostly it is also a transition from Pitta to Vata phase of life. And so there's a lot happening. So because menstruation is more a Pitta phase of life, and then you're going into the Vata phase of life. So also the bedtime and eating proper meals are very important. Connecting with the nature and meditation is very important. So detox, you just follow the normal seasonal detox, which comes the springtime and then the autumn time. So those are the tools really to detox your body once that nature has stopped that function in the physiology. So don't worry about it. And if it's a happy transition, easy transition, so your body is already very, very happy. If you're going through a lot of symptoms, hot flushes, things like that, so you're already balancing the imbalance in the system. So you kind of more focus on the whole system now and connecting to each other rather than just focusing on the cycle is stopped. I think that's maybe if Dr. Brennan wants to add anything.
Well, I have a question for Dr. Brennan.
Well, I was going to suggest that the joint seed oil can be used for both arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Rachel, and is there Shilajit in your Chyavanprash? No, not that I'm aware of. And thinning of hair, why don't you use the healthy hair and nails tablets, Carmel? And what was your question, Noel?
Can you suggest how to deal with insomnia, where I get to sleep and wake up every night after 2 to 3 hours and struggle to get to sleep again until 5 a.m. So yes, Dr. Brennan has a very good video about sleep on our YouTube channel. You should look at that. I think, go ahead, Don, you'll know what that is.
Yes, because the most likely thing is Vata is out of balance, and Vata comes up between 2 and 6, and so it should, because the mind starts to move in dreams due to that Vata influence, and it's very healthy, except that when our Vata is too excited, then we tend to wake up at that time and find it difficult to get back to sleep at that time. And we've probably spent the whole day winding our Vata up and then spent the whole night agitating because our Vata was up. So then we're going to the next day all agitated, which pushes our Vata up again. So if you want a good night's sleep, have a good day's rest. In other words, maintain a balance of Vata through the day with a good routine, with the relaxed meals, with your meditation, with an oil massage. And if you've maintained your Vata balanced, then you have a better chance of having a better night's sleep. if you combine that, perhaps, if really excited at night and you know yoga, do some yoga stretches before bed, because yoga is the quiet mind. That's the definition of yoga. So the asanas, the yoga postures, are about quietening the mind, and it's a nice strategy in preparation for a more settled sleep to maybe do some gentle yoga before you go to bed. There are also the herbal preparations. There's
sleep Vata Pitta.
Yeah,
Deep rest.
Sleep Vata Pitta, or just ashwagandha itself can be a helpful tonic for sleep. So those two would be certainly
and maybe
worth using. And
maybe less teas and coffees.
What's that? Less
teas and coffees, yeah.
Oh, after 3 o'clock, you know, it'd be 12 hours later after taking your coffee or your tea, half the caffeine is still in your system. So if you have a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, well, at 3 o'clock in the morning, don't be surprised that the caffeine is waking you up. It's a stimulant. So contain your caffeine to early morning hours, I would suggest.
So there's quite a lot of questions about arthritis and things like that. And Judith, maybe you send me an email with that question. I don't think we're going to go into it now, but I would say
I can say MA574 if you're just keen on to start something for the patient.
MA574. Yeah, I think everybody with arthritis problems and those questions should do the webinar next Tuesday night. It's quite an in-depth webinar. I mean, I think it goes on for about 2 hours.
And for the same question from Karma Yoga as well, for rheumatoid, I think it's better you talk to one of us, because that's a lot of pitta imbalance and probably need to go on detox and some diet advices beside, because you're using probably the joint soothe oil. So they are both kind of same kind of questions. Scleroderma is also a lot of pitta imbalance. Yeah.
Okay. So Bartana there, Raj.
Sorry?
She can do for your what was the name of the girl, Judith? Yeah, you can do the Vartana with the ginger powder and Triphala powder for your client. Yeah, that will help, mix with some castor oil.
And see it as a real AMA condition.
Yeah, I think she need a proper kind of a consultation. She's waiting to get the consultation.
Good, because
breast cancer diagnosis comes under which dosha? And please, can the doctor suggest any remedies for loss of taste? Well, we've done loss of taste already, but breast cancer diagnosis is probably a kapha thing. But anyway, Dr. Brennan.
Oh, I would agree. It's but having said that, though, it generally would tend to be a kapha problem. You can have a pitta type, you can have a vata type. So, you know, we can't be too emphatic about this. It does require an individual sort of assessment. You know, it is a serious enough condition to warrant a consultation as opposed to home remedies.
Yeah.
So what was the full question, Noah?
Just breast cancer, what diagnosis does it come, which dosha? So Vata or Pitta we're talking about there, but they're not actually looking for suggestions, and possibly it's best not, as you say, it's warranted consultation.
It's probably involving kapha anyway.
Sorry, kapha and Pitta.
The Amrit Kalash, because it's a lack of ojas. The transcendental meditation, because you want to reawaken the connection with that self. But a lot of strategies really to handle such a powerful condition.
Some amount of questions coming in. Breast, how to take Bala powder to increase strength?
In milk, Bala with the almond milk or coconut milk or normal milk, because Bala is to balance Vata, and anything with Vata go well with even with the ghee as well. So you can mix a teaspoon of Bala with a kind of roughly 2 teaspoons of ghee, because too dry. It's a fluffy powder, so you need kind of milk or ghee.
Okay, so I have osteopenia and was wondering what you would recommend. The doctor has prescribed Calci Chew, which is vitamin C and vitamin D chewable. I'm in menopause with no adverse symptoms except stiffness in my hips and shoulders, also cracking in the knees. I am kapha pitta. Sorry, I can't get the name of that. Joan to everybody.
Joanne, yeah. Joanne, probably CalcioCare. Calcium Chew, I don't really want to talk much about that. It's just a synthetic calcium, better go with the more better absorption calcium. Might need for temporary purpose, but I say the Calcio Care or a good source of calcium combined with vitamin D, vitamin K, all of that. And if you have kapha, yeah, look into the kapha balancing, and then ghee in your diet.
Yeah, well, it's an important point there. And Dr. Brennan wrote a brilliant article about natural health supplements. Most of the vitamins and supplements that people are buying are synthetic. So ascorbic acid for vitamin C, but not just that, most of them are synthetic. They're manufactured in factories in China for the most part, you know, and they're not natural. And there's nothing to say that the body actually treats them the same way that it treats natural vitamins. So our advice is always to get what's called food state. In other words, from foods. And there is a way of doing that. Now, the one we sell is Cytoplan, but there are other ones. But we don't highly recommend synthetic vitamins and minerals, you know. So, and unfortunately, I'd say about 90% of the ones you buy in the marketplace are synthetic. And as I say, they're just mass manufactured, you know. Any advice for recurring debilitating shoulder pain, limiting use of arm, priya, sore condition? Don, you had a wife that had that.
I know it's a difficult one, Noel, and it's a sort of a.
You had the wife, he is a wife.
Well, I would recommend Rajvinder because she has sort of local treatments that she could actively be doing, patropotally. I think for pain, acupuncture is also useful. And from the Ayurveda point of view, there are marma points. It's more of a condition. I would be applying oil and heat to that poor shoulder. I'd be doing my Abhyangas regularly, and I'd be
your exercises are regular, the strengthening, muscle strengthening exercises, the squeezy ball, and all the other kind of pushing your hand against the wall. So you need to do kind of arm strengthening. You might go to the physio and get some exercises, or you can talk to the doctors if you want.
So Sean Trainer says 201 on the call, but that was a while back. I think we're down to 196, but we're still holding on.
It was 218 at one.
218, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yvonne, I agree with what you say. I would do a consultation first. I think that would be the best idea. Mary Byrne, Noel, does that include plant and vegan detergent and sprays? Probably not, Mary. Just look at the ingredients and see what's in there. You know, that's all you can do. Just because something says it's natural, or something says it's healthy, or something says it's eco-friendly. Oh my God, that word eco-friendly, you know, it's just used for everything. You know, I mean, you know, people think, oh, an electric car is eco-friendly. There's absolutely nothing eco-friendly about an electric car. It may be slightly less damaging than a petrol car or a diesel car, but that still remains to be seen, you know, because we're in a 20 years time, we're going to have millions of batteries that have all sorts of minerals and metals in them. So something might be slightly less damaging, but that doesn't make it friendly to the environment, you know. So it's just be careful, just read what the ingredients are, and don't listen to the natural, or it is what it says. So you look at the ingredients and see, and maybe there are good ones there, you know.
I know Jadis is getting concerned, and I think we're all in the same boat. Have had our tonsils and adenoids removed, but fortunately nature grants us huge reserves of lymph tissue, so losing the tonsils and adenoids as a child won't really make any difference, because there's so many other lymph nodes up around that area that'll take over. And Marion talks about having had encephalitis. I'm sorry to hear that, Marion. Not a nice one. And you can see how it's a Vata condition to do with movement, and the focus really would be to balance your Vata. You know, take an afternoon rest perhaps, as well as that good routine, relaxed meals, do your meditation, things like yoga and oil massage.
Are there natural treatments for small seed warts that Ayurveda recommends? Rajvinder?
It's kind of a pitta kapha condition, really, and they tend to spread. So the first thing immediately is if you can freeze them, that's the better thing. And then you take some antiviral stuff like neem or MP6 powder. Again, it's the kind of reflection of your liver. So Ayurveda would be more recommending to work on the liver so that they stay small and they don't kind of spread. And it could be the dampness and mold, that kind of environment, if you're exposed to, you look into that as well. That's the advice, opening your window and keeping your house like air is more pure and all that. So that could be, it could be there long in your system and it's just appearing now. So I think that's a lot of kapha balancing strategy you have to use. So avoiding the kapha, increasing food, especially the bread and dairy, probably that's where you start with. And then the neem oil, you could start using, applying on the wart. And so I think that's what I would recommend. Yeah.
And is there any healers down that we know of that heal warts? I think that used to be a big thing when I was a child. You went to a healer and the healer just took the warts away. I don't know if it ever worked or not. But
there were all sorts of things. You could pee on them. No, it was another great traditional cure.
Stung by a nettle.
Stung by a nettle. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was wells that you could visit, I think, and I think there's some scientific backing to that the water has certain minerals in it as well. But anyway, sure, we'll go with that advice there.
About, we're back to the virus. Omicron is replacing Delta completely. It's so infectious, it's completely taking over now, which is a great thing because it's a milder, seems to be much milder. Novavax, the difference is that the spike protein is an actual spike protein used to create the vaccine as opposed to a genetic engineering in any way. So that's the difference with the Novavax virus. And would you recommend for COVID? We did a whole seminar on COVID, didn't we?
Yeah, go on the YouTube channel. Yeah, there's we've covered COVID so many times and vaccines so many times as well.
Please what about rosacea?
Chesty cough, you start taking Sitopalati or Tricatu, as we said.
Yeah.
Sitopalati with honey or Tricatu. Please could the doctors do a webinar on anxiety?
Okay.
Well, in actual
rosacea. So, I mean, rosacea is, again, your pitta is involved, but your vata is pushing the pitta up there. So I think it's a matter of balancing pitta and using some of the skin foods that Rajvendra was talking about, skin tonics. I think also cleansing. So if it's a nuisance, you know, you see one of us. And that's something that is possible to resolve with Ayurveda. Sorry, I interrupted somebody.
Yeah, I'm losing control of this meeting here. I'm going to bring it to an end any minute.
Rajvendra, give me Shirodara quick.
Yeah. So,
Dr. Ren wants to speed up.
Please could doctors do a webinar on anxiety? Rachel, yeah, we could think about that because we are looking for topics to do. But I would say definitely Dr. Rajvendra's yoga class with the Yoga Nidra is going to be very, very good for anxiety. Anything?
I actually, we will do one on anxiety. Actually, that's a very good topic. Yeah, all of us can contribute to that. But I might put a more detailed lecture on Yoga Nidra as well, because that's a wonderful tool to deal, and especially when the person was talking about deep hurt and all, how to deal with that. So I think Yoga Nidra is a great tool to deal with all of these things, and the yoga teachers here and will agree with me, because that's really looking deeper into your unconscious, subconscious mind, and it's the reflection of your nervous system, of your constitution. Once you know your constitution, and it's just an energetic reflection what your body is trying to clear. So yeah, we will definitely.
Yeah, I'm seeing 112 new messages, so we're definitely not going to get through. I'll read out one because it starts off with "well said, Noel," so I like the sound of that. Well said, Noel, about forgiveness and apology. It does help very much. This is one basic rule of Jainism. Yeah, so being very good. Yeah. So we're getting very close to the end. So I just want to, I have 112 messages here. There's no way we're going to get through them, you know. But I have one here. My mother has been coughing since November. No pain, but yellow-green mucus. Yellow-green would indicate probably Vata. Any suggestions? I've lost it now. My mother has been coughing since November. No pain, but yellow-green mucus. Any suggestions? So
licorice. If her blood pressure is okay, then give her licorice powder with throat soothe syrup. That will help.
Licorice powder with throat soothe syrup. Okay, yeah. So you get both of them on our website.
I was asking again, any more tablets for MS, multiple sclerosis? The Regen Nerve was specifically for that. Any more tablets? There are a lot of herbals that are tonic for the nervous system. Pardon, right?
Blissful Joy, Brahmi.
Yeah, Brahmi, ashwagandha.
Blissful Joy, we don't have, we've run out of it. It's our probably most popular herbal, or one of them. It's due a shipment in probably the middle of February, but I know we ran out of it. We had a sale last weekend, so any of you that placed orders, just be a little bit patient with us, because we had quite a lot of people take advantage of that sale. So we have a lot of orders to work through. All our UK customers, just to let you know that the system for the UK is working perfectly. I live very close to the border with Northern Ireland, so we ship the goods up to Northern Ireland, and then they're sent out from Jonesborough Post Office in the north with the Royal Mail. So, and I have to say the Irish Post is incredibly efficient, but I have to say Royal Mail is also efficient. I mean, I don't think they've lost a single parcel on us yet, you know. So, so that's, everything is getting through to the UK. There's no customs charges or import duties or anything, because we bring it across the border, and we just ship it from there. And
Yvonne has a question about children under 12, and Yvonne, sure, they are kapha phase of life, and it's inevitable that they're going to get kapha problems if you don't keep their kapha balanced, and then the coughs, the colds, the flus. So basically you have to focus on their kapha, you know, just revise the balance of kapha strategies and the foods, and lots of spices. Hot spices are useful, and the black pepper, the basil, the turmeric, and then if they do get it, Pachavan is a good tonic for the chest, and it's lovely and sweet. It's something they might enjoy to take on a regular basis as a preventative.
Just Deirdre Bregan says, just checking, did you say Calci Chew is synthetic? I don't know that, Deirdre. I don't know that particular product. You'd have to look at the ingredients, and I think anyone that's concerned about taking synthetic vitamins and minerals should read Dr. Brennan's article. Can you remember, it was called The Myth of Natural Health Supplements, Don, is that it? It was a brilliant article, you know. Do you remember writing that many moons ago?
I remember writing it, but I can't remember the title.
Okay, I'll see, can I dig it out, and I'll send it with the next email. But it was called The Myth of Natural Health Supplements. So it was
there's a question about an antihistamine remedy product. I mean, the allergen, wasn't there?
Allergard.
Allergard is the Maharishi Ayurveda herbal for allergies.
Yeah, and Brian O'Donoghue says, a good physio fixed my bad shoulder, and plus Ayurvedic oil. So there you are. You can try different things, you know. So listen, we're coming to an end. We're getting very close here. I just want to say, I want to share my screen for a minute, first of all. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen again, and I'm going to bring you to our website, okay, because I want you all to know our website. So our website is ayurveda.ie. So there's the spelling of the word. So ayurveda.ie. If you go to health advice here, you can see all these different things coming up. Acid indigestion, allergies, anxiety. Someone asked about anxiety earlier on. So you can download a PDF, or you can just read it on the screen. We have headaches, joint disorders, skin disorders, toxin-free body, articles on Triphala. Over here, you can download brochures on various different things, on peace of mind, on rasayanas, on Triphala brochures, Ayurvedic diet and nutrition. This one is brilliant. There's a dosha test in here, and a good explanation of the doshas, you know, in there. But where I want you to go to, if you haven't already done this course, this is your next step in your Ayurveda journey. And that is our 7-lesson course. It's absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, Vaidya Nahid couldn't join us this evening. She had internet problems, but you can register for those 7 lessons here. All we need is your email address, and we'll send you out the 2 videos a week. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's free of charge. It doesn't cost anything. So yeah, so you can go there. If you go back to the home page of this, I just want to move this out of the way. You can see all the details of our doctors, okay? So Dr. Brennan, if you're in Cork, Vaidya Nahid, but all of the doctors are doing Zoom consultations. Actually, Dr. Brennan is only doing Zoom consultations. Dr. Rajvinder and Dr. Tritelli. And then our shop is there, so all our products are there. We've about 170 different products that you can breeze through. Easiest way to find anything on our shop is just put it into the search bar. So let's say I said MA1402. Hope this works now. So I put in, don't use any gap between the MA and the 1402 and click return. And sorry, there are no results because I told you already that that one is out of stock. So let me go to one that's in stock, MA1401. So it's called Worry Free. And then you can click on it and you can read about it and everything like that, okay? So all our products are there, everything that we have in stock. And then if you click on the booking tab here, Dr. Rajvinder is booked in person. You send her an email or you ring her and you book her in person. Dr. Brennan is only booked online. So an initial consultation or a revisit with Dr. Brennan, and that's the arthritis webinar, which is next Tuesday night, okay? And you can book that there on that thing. So you got the 7-lesson course, which I'm presuming probably most of you have done, but the arthritis webinar next week, maybe a lot of you have done that as well, but there's no harm in seeing it again. And as I say, if you go back to the home screen, you can get details on all of the doctors. And then a little bit further down here is a link to the health advice videos, the YouTube channel. And there's, I don't know, there's lots and lots of videos, cookery videos. I did some lockdown videos, cooking soups and flask lunches and stuff like that. So there's a huge amount of information in there. So I advise all of you to register for our newsletter and to, you know, explore that website as well. There's lots and lots of information on that.
The question there is that, are you repeating the spring detox?
We are, yes. I'm meeting with the doctors next week, and we're going to tweak the detox a little bit. We did 2 last year. The demand was so high. I will put it up on the booking system. I have a funny feeling that a lot of people that did it last year are probably going to want to do it again this year, because I mean the testimonials we got from that thing was really, really cool. Someone says cool hat, Noel. I presume I'm referring to the boat behind me. I was trying to think what they were talking about, you know. So I presume it's this. I'm in my father's house at the moment, my parents' house, and that's I don't know what it is. It's a kind of a metal boat or something like that that's there. But anyway, so anyway, once it was cool, that's the most important thing, you know. I'll just go back. I lost myself here. Okay. That's it, I think. I want to say a big thank you. Like anybody that's new here, and there's probably not that many people new here. I mean, if you're not grasping the depth of Ayurveda, we're doing something wrong, because like every single question we were asked, we answered, you know. Well, not everyone, because we just didn't get time to do them all. But Ayurveda is a profoundly deep system of knowledge, an unbelievably profoundly deep natural system of healthcare that I believe should be absolutely mainstream. It should, because it's far fewer side effects. It's much more practical. I believe it should be absolutely mainstream. And I want to make it mainstream, and the doctors want to make it mainstream, but we need everybody's help in order to make it mainstream. So please, you can share our website with your friends and your family. You can invite, we'll have another Q&A in another couple of weeks. And you're welcome and free to share the Zoom link with people. As I said, do not post it on your social media, because then we can end up with a bit of trouble. But certainly share it with people and friends that you're happy to share it with. You know, lots of thank yous coming in there. So I don't think.
Somebody said, how much is the course? I don't know which course they are asking.
It's free. It's free. The 7-lesson course is free. That's how much it is. It doesn't cost anything. We ran that, I'd say, we started that in March or April of 2020 during the first lockdown. And we had, I was expecting maybe 50 or 60 people to come on it, but we've had over 20,000 people register for that course in the last 2 years. And it's a fabulous course, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And now, if you're referring to the arthritis webinar next weekend, that's €10, and you book that where I showed you on the website. So if you have an interest in that area, you can do that. But the 7-lesson course as an introduction is free, you know. Chris G says, I love your attitudes. Thanks very much, Chris. Thanks for the great session. My God, they're flying in here. Is joint food oil good for plantar fasciitis, please?
Yeah, it will help.
I was referring to the arthritis session. That's €10, Mary. I missed most of the session. Is it recorded? Great, Breed. I'm glad you asked that question. I will send you a link. They give me a chance to upload it to YouTube tomorrow morning. I'll send everybody a link. Huge amount of information here. When is the next sale, Emer? I just finished the sale. I don't want to go back to having tinnitus again, okay? So okay, you missed it. Sorry, Emer. Okay, Emer, I'll tell you what I'll do for you and for you only. The rest of you close your ears. You send me in an order and I'll refund 15% of the products to you, okay? As a special thank you to you, okay? And we will have a sale. I'm sure we'll have another one at some stage, but I'm still trying to get the orders out for the first one, you know? So, and just, Emer, just send me a little email to remind you that remind me that I made you that promise, okay? And okay, everybody. Doctors, any last word before we go?
Thanks, everybody, for being with us and for all your encouragement.
Great. Richvinder?
Yeah, take it easy. It's and people, if they're getting this Omicron infection, take it easy. Don't go run to work. I was talking to a girl today. She had to go for within 1 week of her infection and 10-hour shift, and she now ended up with a very bad back pain. So please take it easy. A lot of rest, eat light, good food, and take your vitamin D and zinc and our lovely Chyawanprash or Amrit Kalash. So yeah, we are slowly heading towards the spring, but it's still cold, so don't rush out. And the January month is a bit of gloomy this year, so just take time. Then it's very emotional for a lot of people. So I would say just take it easy and rest and just reflect, self-reflection, walk in the nature. And yeah, hopefully see you again. Thanks for being here. It was lovely to see you all.
So I'll end on the one last comment. It's from Sally Hayden, and she says, keep cool, Noel. So that means I must be cool already. So that's great. So we end on that note. Okay, everybody, namaste. Thank you very much for coming on. And I'll send the link out tomorrow and register for a newsletter if you're not already. And we'll keep in touch with everybody. Big thank you to the doctors. We can't do this without the doctors.
And to you as well.
Massive information. Thank you very much, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
Namaste.
Bye. Namaste. Bye-bye.